but they also come because they're convinced that there are pots of gold which can be dug out of the ground if they could just have the right product at the right time for the right market or the right service. I want to divide the future into 6 phases. They spell the word future, F-U-T-U-R-E. And there'll be times when we're reacting to these, and I'm going to ask you to put your hands up. And if you're watching this by video, then I still want you to put your hands up, because your views amongst yourselves are the most important thing. It's not my view. And so we'll be calibrating your own views by a show of hands against the views of your contemporaries here in this room, and indeed elsewhere within Eversheds and with other organizations around the world. So the future spells the word future, F-U-T-U-R-E, but before we look at that first phase, I've just got a couple of observations to make. I had the privilege of spending some time with your senior management team recently, and started to explore some of the things which I was seeing looking in from the outside. And I'm hearing things like that you want to be the strongest firm when it comes to relationships, client relationships. We want to be closer than anybody else. We want to understand our clients. I understand that. I also hear that you want to be a seamless organization with total integration. I've heard some of those themes again this morning. That you want to have a client offering that is totally joined out, that is very sophisticated, and that meets your clients' needs exactly where they are. And I understand that. I'm hearing that you want to be an international legal firm, not just a firm with offices in several countries or a number of countries, but a truly global legal firm with a strong UK and city presence. The idea that you want to be a different kind of legal firm than the rest, that you want to be different in your culture, the way you operate, how you handle issues like work-life balance, diversity, and other things. Really, my first and most fundamental question is this. While we've been discussing all kinds of things this morning, what worries me is that almost all the things we've heard about have been about stepwise incremental improvements on something that's already is. But my question is this. If you were to start with a completely blank sheet of paper, if you were to start with a world where there was no Eversheds, if someone said to you, here are 800 of the smartest people in the world in terms of legal advice and the rest, with a tremendous track record individually and with bags of clients, really important clients, if you were building a third millennial legal firm from scratch to meet the needs of where these incredibly complicated clients will be in the next 10 years or so, what would that Eversheds actually look like? And would it bear any real relationship to the Eversheds that there is today? Fast is the first phase of the future. We've already been talking about that. And the fact is that your clients will demand that you act faster and smarter than you've ever done before. The web has made us incredibly impatient. You know that 30% of all the people who want to buy from many of my clients disappear. All those sales are lost. 30% of their sales are lost if their website takes more than 30 seconds to load. That's quite a tough deal. This morning, I was a little bit late, and I rushed to the lift, and I was standing there, and the lift didn't come. And I pressed the button, and it didn't come. Okay, I confess to you, I pressed it more than once. Now, I want you to tell me the truth. Put your hands up if in the last year or two, you too have a confession to make, that you too pressed the lift button more than once to make a lift come. Okay, now just have a look around. I just want you to get this picture. It's very, very important. Have a look around. The fact is, we're all lunatics. And the more pressurized we are, the more bizarrely we behave. Now, the point of the matter is that even lawyers behave irrationally, your clients behave irrationally, and as we've seen in the subprime crisis recently, the markets behave irrationally. And once you've got that in your mind, then we begin to understand that many laws are passed for irrational reasons. The judgments that are made are often irrational. Juries are often irrational, you know that. Well, that leads us to a very uncomfortable place, because we'll conclude very shortly that you need to become experts in irrational predictions, or predictions about how people will behave over things which are not necessarily logical, but are based somewhere on a legal principle. And that is a very different place than where we've been in the past, especially when we think about wildcards. Wildcards are low probability, high impact events. They come crashing into strategy, and the Northern Rock crisis is just a tiny example of one of them. There are literally 400 or 500 such wildcards operating right now in the Eversheds firm and in every one of your clients. A wildcard is a 1% probability risk per year, but if you have 400 or 500 or 600 such risks, it means that one of them goes off every 3 or 4 months. The future of law, I suggest to you, is about emotion. It's the reactions to wildcards that are usually much more lethal than the wildcard themselves. That's the lesson of history. So as I say, if we want to become a sophisticated legal firm for the future, then my clients are demanding from you that you go beyond interpretation of past law and you begin to offer some thoughtfulness about where public mood might go, about where legislation pressures might go, and where courts might go in their interpretation of current law, simply because something changed in the consciousness of people around. That's why we don't believe market research. Market research can't tell you the future. Market research is only as good or as blind as the customers you talk to, and they are as blind as bats. And I can give you hundreds of examples. Let me just show you one. This is a video that was banned in my country, well, in this country, in the UK. I thought you'd like to see it. As some of you may have seen it, caught a glimpse of it, or seen it on some foreign place where it has yet to be banned. And this is a video for advertising something on TV. Here is the issue. Why was it